Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Eric, aka Josette.
Happy Halloween!
Tonight we are continuing our Gone Too Soon Dark Shadows coverage, and we thought it would be fun since we're covering a spooky show to cover it live on Halloween. So here we are. Tonight we're discussing episodes 6 and 7 of the 1991 revival of Dark Shadows. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. Okay, so episode 6, we kind of pick up where we left off with Caroline being compelled by Barnabas after he bit her again.
Yeah.
I was a little concerned she was going to meet the same fate as Daphne because I felt like they were going through the same steps.
I guess he has a little bit more control over it now, so maybe
But
that's why.
also he's like really pissed at Julia, so I think he's like using Caroline as a way to like, well,
Oh yeah.
we'll get into it because a lot.
Oh yeah.
So Willie is guiding Caroline back to Collinwood. I always want to call it Collinswood. It's
I
Collinwood.
know. Same. And it's miles away, I guess.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, it's still on the same property.
I don't know. I'm confused by it.
He's repeating everything is going to be fine as if he's trying to convince himself.
Yeah.
Caroline confirms Barnabas will be attending the party, and Julia says she heard he wasn't feeling well. And Caroline says he's feeling just fine.
And she's all mad too.
Willie expresses his concerns for Victoria being hurt because Barnabas is back to the way he was. Barnabas says he would never intentionally hurt Miss Winters and will do everything in his power to not see her. Is your cat by the microphone?
No, I think he's around though.
Oh, I feel like I hear him like licking or drinking water.
Sorry, peeps. It's live. Anything could happen with my cat.
So I totally forgot that they were having like, would you consider that like a masquerade party?
Yes. Apparently, yeah, it's yearly. They have one every year.
And this is the
Um,
one that Barnabas had loaned one of Josette's dresses to Victoria to wear.
yes.
So Sarah's ghost is watching the party from upstairs. And Willie has shaved but cut himself a few times, so he has like toilet paper on his face.
Poor guy, yeah. Can't even shave.
Julia watches Barnabas whispering in Caroline's ear, and she rushes over. And Barnabas tells Julia her services are no longer required, and that scores will have to be settled.
hmm You know, Julia's gonna get it.
Victoria enters the party and asks Barnabas if she looks like Josette Dupree, and he says she is Josette Dupree.
hmm
Maggie has taken a Ouija board out during an after party of sorts. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
um, I like. Did you see when Joe was trying to talk to Carolyn how she blows them off?
Yeah, was that reminiscent of how she is in the original series?
Yes, that is exactly how she is. It's really funny.
So maybe that was a nod to that.
I know, maybe it was because yeah, she's really blowing them off now when she like wanted it before, you know. It's funny.
So at the
Come on,
Ouija
Maggie Ouija board.
after party, the sheriff uh, wonders if the person that's responsible for the trouble in town is in the room
hmm
or still around. He asks what letter does the killer's name begin with, and it lands on C. And Roger's like, well, there's a lot of C's in here because they're all Collins.
Yeah, right.
Since most of them are Collins, he asks if it's the last name, and it says yes.
Hmm.
Roger asks what letter the killer's first name begins with, and Barnabas gives Caroline a look to do something. And she flips the board over and screams she can't believe they're taking anything about this seriously.
Yeah, she's
Barnabas
being compelled.
Caroline to come to him in the middle of the night, and she runs up on him and turns around to give him her neck, and he bites her. I think run
Yeah.
him was meant to be rubs up on him. And my water corrected it.
Oh yeah, didn't she like lay her head at his chest or something?
It was there was a lot of like heavy petting and like
Yeah, they're very close cousins.
the next day Caroline is still alive with a scarf on her neck and blowing off plans with Joe.
Mhm. Poor Joe.
Caroline buys an apothecary case with old poison still in it.
I'm glad you could say that word because I wrote it like I spelled it totally wrong. Like what is it? Say it again.
Apothecary?
Apothecary. I'm like apothecary. Can't say it.
Caroline serves tea to Julia and slips poison in it.
Mm.
And David stops her from drinking it. He says Sarah told him that there was poison in it, and he knocks the teacup out of Julia's hand.
I guess Sarah didn't know that Carolyn was the one doing it. I guess they just,
You think she would have named her?
yeah, probably. Why wouldn't he? He'd be like, but he didn't. He wasn't like even nervous with Carolyn around.
Hmm.
When you think he would have given her like a look, like, why'd you do that?
Right.
They just knew it was poison. They didn't know where it came from, it
Right.
seemed.
Caroline drags David to his room, and he tells her she's acting spooky lately.
I like that too.
Julia comes to see Caroline and questions the nature of the relationship with Barnabas.
Wait, we didn't say that Barnabas did his creepy faces to get Carolyn to compel.
Before the heavy
Remember?
petting, he like
He
scrunches
goes,
a lot.
so funny. I would rather them just like zoom into his eyes or something, but he's just like,
Yeah. I guess they're trying to like show his teeth, so they're just like growl and make a face.
make your funny vampire face. Okay.
Caroline tells Julia one day she's going to be really sorry and demands she get out of her room.
Mm.
Barnabas compels Caroline, so he must have been making a scrunchy face again.
Yeah, he did.
To walk into the kitchen and grab a knife and head towards Julia's room.
This was awesome, wasn't it? Did you
She
think he was gonna get her?
stabs Julia's bed, leaving the knife there, but Julia isn't in the bed. And Julia pops up and pulls the scarf off of Caroline, revealing her bite mark.
Julie is so smart. She's seriously one of my faves.
Julia then goes to Barnabas and rushes past Willie.
Again.
Pretty brave, considering she knows that he wants her dead, and she's just gonna like confront him.
That's why I'm so fascinated with this woman. Like, how do you have the balls? Like, she really does. Like, she's not afraid to
Right.
die. Like, she's like, he'll get over. Like, he's mad at me, whatever. So funny.
Barnabas tells Julia he was turning into a 200-year-old man.
Yeah.
And Caroline came at the wrong time. He vamps out and is going to attack Julia, but his sister Sarah begs him not to and tells him to stop hurting people.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the witch Angelique appears, screeching like a banshee.
Well, didn't Sarah said someone has to go back and change things. She said that too.
Yes, she did.
And we're like, go back how? Yeah, and
Mm,
then Angelique comes and
scream
looks
for Angie.
cool. Yeah. The Banshee is important. Wow. Did you watch Charmed? Did you ever see the Banshee episode of Charmed?
No.
It reminds me of that. Oh man, you gotta watch Charmed. Come on. Come on.
Um, Julia enlists Maggie's help in a seance to contact Sarah Collins. Sarah's spirit possesses Victoria and says evil is coming unless they can change what has happened. Suddenly, Victoria disappears and another woman appears and passes out.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Did you recognize this other woman? Oh, did you
I
recognize the other woman?
I did see her name in the credits, and I was like, "Oh, that's Ellen Wheeler."
Ellen Wheeler, who was, I believe, the original Vicky on Another World. And it's funny because her and Joanna Going worked together on Another World. They were on at the same time, so that's kind of fun.
I assumed that's who it was because seeing the name and then seeing her, I could see why they recasted with Anne Hesh because there's a resemblance.
What? Yeah, was it Ellen Wheeler, then Anne Heche, then
I think
Jensen Buchanan?
I think Ellen may have stepped back in at some point in between.
Okay. Did they ever have one simultaneously and not be twins? Like Ellen and Anne at the same time?
I don't know. I don't think so.
And also, wasn't Ellen Wheeler was Stewart's love interest on All My Children in the 80s, I believe, too.
Really?
I don't know if it was before or after Another World, though. Soap fans can tell me or tell us.
That makes sense because they were both New York soaps,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't know.
R.I.P. New York soaps.
I never knew Another World. Well, I wasn't really into soaps back then because I literally got into soaps as Another World ended. Um, but I didn't. My grandmother loved Another World, and I never knew that it was filmed in New York.
It's really good. It is good.
Um, they find a note from the 1700s that explains who this
Yes.
woman is, and it's signed by Joshua Collins and
Yeah.
Victoria Winters.
Weird, right?
David confirms that is where Victoria is because Sarah told him.
It's 1790.
Or as Julia's alter ego, the Countess, whatever her name was, Dupree.
Yes.
The
I
year of
love her.
the year of our Lord,
Yeah.
1790.
Yes. And then her name is Phyllis Wick, that she was supposed to be the teacher, or what is she called?
Tutor,
Au
teacher.
pair, the au pair. Au pair.
Um,
That's probably when they used au pair in 1790.
the name Phyllis though feels like such a more modern name than the 1700s.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like Phyllis. Well,
When I hear the name Phyllis, I think of Phyllis like from Mary Tyler Moore.
that's exactly who I was going to say. There's Phyllis Diller,
Right.
who was in Bold and the Beautiful. There's Phyllis, who was on Mary Tyler Moore and spun off into her own show called Phyllis. How original. When they named all shows like people's names.
It also feels like an outdated name. Like I don't know any young Phyllises. I feel like every Phyllis I've ever seen at this point
Right?
over 60.
Right. Like I'm trying. I don't know any. I worked with a Phyllis. May she rest in peace. She died during COVID. That was the only Phyllis.
She's 60.
Was she 60?
Yeah, or older.
Yeah, she was. She was in her 60s.
Say.
Yeah. And but I didn't know of any other one. I'm trying to think. Phyllis from Young and the Restless.
Again, 50.
But yeah, and that's not her real name. So yeah,
Right.
there's really is there we gotta look and see if there's any Phyllises left. We gotta start naming some things Phyllis,
Or if
people.
there's any Phyllises under 40.
Yeah. We'll put ads in the paper looking for a Phyllis under 40 just to know they exist.
So episode 7 was very 1700s heavy. Like it was mostly
Hmm.
1700s, and then like a
But it
couple.
was good.
It was good, so good. I watched it
It
three
was good. I want to know, like, now I can't wait to get to it. Remember, I told you, I think I said it. What? Sorry, cat's being weird. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I'm totally brain fart.
You said you were excited to get to.
Yeah, so in the original Dark Shadows that I'm watching now, I'm still in like the current day, and I guess it goes into the past when Barnabas comes along. I'm still not in the Barnabas years. I have about 150 episodes to go. Um, but and I think I said that it was like originally it was supposed to be like a few months long, but it was so popular back then that they did it for 8 months.
Hmm.
So now I'm like really want to be like now I really want to see the past stuff, but I got a lot to watch, so I won't get there till maybe next year.
um, so we find Victoria in the 1700s, and she wanders upon the Collins estate. I guess Collinswood.
Well, it started didn't it? Episode 7. We started with Willie and Julia. They were talking to Barnabas about Phyllis, and remember they said that she got a fever and died.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
That's important. That's very, very important to this story.
because then Willie starts panicking that the same thing might happen to Victoria.
Well, no, it's not that. But if Phyllis dies, how's Victoria coming back?
Right. Because
That's what it is.
right.
Right. So that's an interesting twist.
But then Victoria comes across Daniel and Sarah.
Yeah,
Daniel,
right.
played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays David in the present time.
Isn't it fun?
And he says, "I be Daniel," or something like that. And she's like, "That's not how you say that properly."
She corrects them immediately.
um, and then Barnabas comes outside, clearly human still.
Hmm.
And apparently she resembles his fiancee, Josette,
But
who's
it
not
doesn't seem like he says that she resembles her, but he doesn't like, I don't know, he's not like totally floored like
right.
he was when he saw her originally, in the series. He's just like, oh, she looks kind of like my girl. Like,
But nobody is. Not even the actress that's playing Julia in present time, I think is playing Josette's mother.
yes, it's Natalie
Even
Dupre.
she sees a resemblance, but she's just kind of like, nah, my Josette's prettier, more refined.
Right. Even though they're like dead ringers.
And she even says so at the end when she actually sees Josette. She's like, she's me or I'm her or whatever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good, right?
but so he brings her in. I think she says she's like the tutor, the au pair, whatever she's supposed to be.
Right.
And he brings her inside, and he introduces her to his father, Joshua,
Joshua.
his mother, not Elizabeth. I can't remember what he said her name is.
Um, yeah, forget it too.
And Auntie, which apparently is now Joshua's sister.
Aunt Abigail. Do you see why I don't like her?
Yeah, so I was like, this is why he doesn't like her.
I hated her. I couldn't remember exactly why, and I was like, that bitch, she's a monster bitch, man. This is only the beginning for her, so she does a lot.
So Mrs. Dupree, played by Julia's actress, and Aunt Abigail try to get her settled and like change her clothes, and they don't know what a zipper is because they weren't zippers back then.
Right? That was cool.
And the label says machine wash, um,
I
something
don't think I wrote it. Yeah,
something
it's permanent
she's
permanent press.
permanent press.
Tumble dry or something
Tumble
like I forget
dry.
what it was.
Yeah.
And
And
they
that's
were the images, right? It was images that only she could read.
Oh, it was the images, it wasn't word. I was wondering why.
Yeah, and that's why she thought like suspicious of it. She's like, this is like, why? How can she read this and no one else can? So Aunt Abigail's already starting her shit like
Okay,
right from the get-go.
that
She
makes
don't
sense
trust Victoria. She don't trust. She just thinks basically witch, like you're a witch because
because
they can't read that.
anybody different was a witch back then.
Right, right, right. Yep, exactly.
Um, but that makes so much sense because I was like, I was like, did they not? They're speaking English. I'm like, so clearly they know like words. Like,
Right, right, right.
can they not read? Like,
Yeah, because if you look closely, that they were like little images on the what's the thing
oh,
called? Tag on the tag.
that actually okay. That clears up a lot for me then.
Yeah.
But this is the scene where she asks what year it is, and they're like, and that's when the Countess Dupree says, "The year of our Lord, 1790."
Do you like Natalie so far? I love her. I think she's fun.
Yeah, she's fun.
I like her French accent.
But we also find in the quarters, I don't know what you would call her, a handmaid,
Yeah, I guess like a handmaid. Yeah.
Angelique,
Yeah.
who apparently does not work for Natalie. Natalie, that's her name.
Yeah, Natalie Dupree.
She actually works for um,
Joshua.
Josette.
Oh, she works for Josette. Right.
Yeah. Um,
And doesn't Angelique do so much in this first episode? Like you get a lot from her in this one episode alone.
yes. So she helps Victoria get settled. She lets her borrow a dress, and she's in the next room over, but she says, "But not tonight." And she kind of implies, "Because I'm gonna be doing slutty things." And
I'm gonna be
Victoria
a
like, "Oh, okay, we'll have fun."
1790 hoe.
Um, but then we see her go to see Barnabas and seduce him, and he's like not interested, but apparently it must have happened once before in the past, and
Hmm.
that's why she's back
Yep.
for some more.
Yeah, she can't get enough of that Barnabas D.
So because I love villainesses and I think they're misunderstood. Clearly Josette is not a villain. She just loves him.
Who, Josette? Oh yeah. Josette's not a villain. Mm-mm.
I mean, to some, she might come off as a villain, but I think she's just doing bad things because she's reacting to the fact that he's not reciprocating her love.
So you're talking about Angelique, not Josette.
Angelique, yes. And
Because I'm like, wait, Josette is not a villain. She's
yeah,
far
sorry,
from
I've
it.
just said
But
yes. I think Angelique just loves him and nobody understands that.
um, I did you watch the rest of the episode?
Yeah, she just wants him to reciprocate her love.
So she hurts. We'll get to that in a
We'll
second.
get to it. So he tells her, no, can't do this. I love Josette, blah, blah, blah. But he ends up giving in to her feminine wiles.
Right.
And it happens again.
They bang. Yep.
They bang. So we meet Jeremiah, who's Barnabas's brother. And I got to say, he's a cutie.
Yeah, that's Adrian Paul. He was in the Colbys, if you ever get to it.
You're very shady when you talk about the Colbys and me watching it.
Is that shade? I guess it is, yeah. Watch the Colbys!
Stop touching me.
I'll never watch. I'll never. You can't make me.
I literally bought the DVDs in 2018 and I haven't opened them yet.
Ay, ay, ay.
There's just too much to watch.
There really is. There really, because I'm like, now we got Falcon Crest, we got the Salem Strangler. We're trying to finish Dark Shadows. Like we got so much.
It's a marathon, not a race. We'll get it done.
I know, right? One day, one day.
So yeah, Jeremiah is really cute.
Yes, he
Um,
is.
am I remembering correctly? According to the story Barnabas told Victoria, was he involved with Josette? Like, were they having an affair?
I don't remember.
Or maybe
I'm
he
not
had
sure.
a crush on Josette.
Well, I know he's crushing on Victoria already, but who isn't? I think we
Hmm.
did you introduce Peter Bradford? Remember him too, Michael T. Weiss?
Yeah, so Joe is now Peter, and apparently
Joe is Peter Bradford.
now he's best friends with Jeremiah and
Yes,
Barnabas.
Barnabas. And he's crushing on Victoria big time, which I like because they have some good chemistry, those two.
Yeah, they do
And
actually.
and he and he's really sweet too to her
Yes.
because he could have been like, "This bitch is mad, take her away," but he's kind of like trying to help her
So
through.
she meets him because okay, so where she's staying with the family, I think, is the original Collins estate. So she wanders
Yes,
off, so I think, to Collinwood, or what will be Collinwood, because it looks like
right.
it's under construction.
Yeah, it's
And
like the opposite in the past.
right.
Yeah, it's cool.
um, and that's how she meets Peter.
Yeah, while she's just wandering around, like, and she's trying to take it all in. She feels like she's in a dream. And she's like, "Why am I here? Like, what's going on?" Like just kind of drifting around.
Is this when she tries to like get in contact with Sarah's spirit, even though she saw Sarah as a human with Daniel?
I think, yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be around that. She starts kind of like praying, and I think that's when Jeremiah or Peter walked up on her.
Apparently, Jeremiah is promised to a woman, Millicent, who
Hmm.
is played by the actress
Oh,
that plays Caroline,
yeah.
and she's something. She's funny.
She is funny.
Uh,
Barbara Blackburn plays Maleficent. What is it? Maleficent? I want to say Maleficent.
I think it's Millicent
It is Millicent. You're right.
because I was like, I'm gonna remember this because in my brain I called her Millie, and I'm like, that's how I remember it.
And from the 1 minute she was on, she's like a monster bitch. You're just like,
He
whoa.
brought her flowers. She's like, in the future, you should know that my favorite flower is a red rose.
Right.
She said that if the driver managed to hit every pothole on the way.
And who was the coachman?
I think his name is Ben.
It's Ben, and who was Willie
Really? Yeah.
in the current day.
Um, what else did she say? Oh, she wanted them to beat him, but not before they got her luggage off of it, and not before he went back to get the rest of her luggage.
Right. So funny.
So Jeremiah tries to say to Joshua,
I ain't
Colin,
marrying this bitch.
I'm marrying her. He said, "You'll marry who I tell you to marry."
I guess that's what they did in 1790.
Right. Meanwhile, Aunt Abigail is going through Victoria's drawers and finding her
Fucking
blouse that
bitch.
has the zipper on it. I
Right.
was very confused at what was going on because I didn't know if we were supposed to know who this was right away. But we're taken to like what looks like a dungeon, and it looks like an exorcism is happening or something.
Right. Where Roger is playing Reverend something.
Oh, that was Roger.
That was Roger, yeah, with a
That's
wig. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't recognize him.
Hmm.
See, and I was wondering about that too. I was like, wow, Roger's the only actor that didn't get to play a second character, and it
Nope,
was
they
him.
all do.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
Reverend Trask,
You know what threw me off? The teeth. They were really gross looking. It didn't.
right? I know, it's funny because the first time I didn't notice that, and I noticed it this time. I was like, oh, well, he's got like fake teeth in.
Uh-huh.
So, and you can kind of tell that they're fake, but it's pretty fun.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it was the same actor.
Yeah,
Good
I
job,
know
you.
because he looks totally different. He's got the bushy eyebrows going,
The
got
long
that long hair.
huh.
I couldn't even remember if I knew that before. I was like, did I know that was him? I can't remember if I did or not. Because he does look significant. He's the only one that looks significantly different.
Now, did you know that was him because you recognized him or because of the credits?
I knew it was him because I was like what you were saying. Oh, Roger didn't have a part in the past, and I was thinking that, and then I was like, holy fuck, that's Roger. I literally thought that like as I was watching it a couple days ago, and I was like, oh shit,
Hmm.
that is him. and he looks great because I don't think I knew it before. I didn't remember.
His assistant or whoever she was giving me Kathy Bates and American Horror Story vibes.
Yeah, right.
Like one
I
of her
guess it's just I guess that's just what they do. They exercise people that they think are witches. I don't
um but apparently she was seeing something because she was like, it's like, come, I see it, talons or whatever. And so he was screaming for the devil to be gone. And I don't know what he poured on her, but it looked like it could have been hot.
know. She I I she probably wasn't seeing anything. She probably was just saying it to get out of whatever the situation was. Like, oh yeah, if I say I see this, they'll let me go, you know.
She was probably she probably slept around, and her
Mm,
family was like, she's possessed. She's a whore.
yeah,
And
that's
so
that's the that's the shit they did back then, dude. It was terrifying.
um I laughed when he said make sure she only eats white foods.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah,
I'm like, is that supposed to be because it'll be light and good, not evil if it's white? Like,
right.
I don't like
I
that.
don't get that either. Yeah, that's weird.
And then he was like, and have her come see me again in a few days. I'm like, why? So you could rinse and repeat? Like,
That's what I'm thinking. That's what that girl is probably just saying what he needs to hear, like just to get out of the torture that he's doing to her.
right. Because his
So
assistant or whatever she is was like, is the devil gone? Did you get it out of her?
on to the next one. And didn't you? I like how Aunt Abigail did say like permanent press, like the way she like it
Yeah,
was like the
she really
devil's
didn't like that. She was like, she speaks a language that nobody else can read.
tumbled dry permanent press.
Right.
I was like, it cracked me up. I'm like, she's fun, even though I hate her guts. And you'll see more soon.
Oh yeah, I definitely know we're not done with her.
I
But
should hate Angelique, but I love Angelique because,
right.
like you said, she has a reason for her madness in a way. Where Anna Abigail is just a monster bitch.
So speaking of Angelique, she tries to work her, no pun intended, magic on Barnabas again, and he's like not having it because Josette's coming back, and she's like, "This will never be over," because she loves him.
Yeah, she wants them.
And she kind of comes up with like a voodoo doll of sorts for Ben,
Yeah,
where
she walks over,
she's
and
able to
it's
like
like a
bend his arms back.
it's like a haystack, like a haystack person, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what
she
is that
twists
thing?
it around, she throws it on the floor, she steps on it.
And she did. She successfully made a voodoo doll of Ben.
Um, so she compels him to basically be her eyes and ears when she's not around and to do her dirty work for her. But he won't know that he's doing it, and he won't remember that they had this conversation.
Right? Isn't
And,
that funny though that he's someone's bitch in the past and the present?
and then she's kind of
I
just like,
want
and she disappears.
I want to know if that's the same way it is in like the original. Like I can't wait to get to this stuff. I mean, not like I'll be able to say anything because it won't be for like a year or so, but
Is Willie around
it'll
now
be
that
fun.
you're watching, or you think he comes
Mm-mm.
around
No,
later?
because he's not there, Angelique isn't there, and neither is Barnabas. None of them are there.
Okay.
It's really funny. Like right now, there's this. I can't remember that guy's name. I should remember it because they say the name every fucking episode. But it's this other guy that I guess is supposed to be like a Barnabas. He's supposed to be like not like an evil character, but like one that causes turmoil. But so far to me, it looks like Roger's the asshole. What are you doing? It looks like Roger is like the asshole in this situation. He's trying to get my water, baby. No, I'm sorry. Um, yeah. So like. I wish I could remember this guy's name. I'll have to write it down when I watch next time.
Um, so Victoria is now writing in a journal, and
Mm,
instead of the narration in the beginning, she's now narrating at the end. And now I'm wondering if every narration we've heard has been her in the past.
right? You wonder.
Huh.
And I don't know if we ever do find out. I could be wrong. We might find out. I really don't remember.
Right. But this is
But it
when
is fun.
Josette arrives and Victoria's watching from upstairs, and at first all you see is like a wrapping around her. You don't really see her face.
Right.
And she reveals herself and looks up, and Josette, Victoria's like, she's me, or I'm her, or whatever she says. And you
No,
see
she said, yeah,
Angelique in the background, like, just like
she says,
smirking.
yeah, wasn't that a great camera shot? I love that shot. I remembered there were certain things throughout this episode I actually really remembered well. And I was like, holy shit, like, that must have really stood out to me, like, for some reason.
Right.
But yeah, I remembered that shot, and I just remember she goes, "She's me, she is me," and I was like, "Oh man, it gave me chills." I love this shit. It's so good. So we got to review real quick. We have Aunt Abigail's going around saying what happened to Phyllis Wick, so she's trying to blame Victoria for all of this stuff. Like Victoria probably got rid of her. She's trying to throw that out there to Joshua.
Right.
Um,
I like how
oh,
Joshua checked Victoria's teeth.
yeah,
I'm sure they were
yeah.
like, of his pleasing.
Joshua wants to pay Victoria $30 a year
Oh, a year. Yeah, that was like a year.
to be the tutor, and Barnabas is like, she's not a slave. So do slaves get paid $30 a year, or do they not get paid at all? And maybe that's what he was trying to
I was
say.
like, $30 a year is a living wage. I'm like, I'm a millionaire.
Right?
Things cost
If I
pennies,
could make,
I guess.
right? If I made like what I make now back in the 60s even, I probably would be like gold. Um, and then we did see that Barnabas said that he felt like he met Victoria in another place and time. But to me, like I feel like because it looks like there's that, like that's why. But I
Right.
mean, even though yes, they did meet in another place and time. Um, oh, I have Angelique comes in with the dresses. She seems friendly. Um, she starts taking off her dress. Apparently, they banged in Martinique. That's what I read.
Um, Something else we forgot to mention in present day, um,
Oh,
Elizabeth is watching Phyllis as she sleeps, and
yes.
she dozes off, and Phyllis wakes up and runs off.
Mm-hmm.
And Julia comes in and is like, "What the hell? Why'd you fall asleep? She's gone."
Bitch, what's wrong with you?
Um,
Um, yeah, that was good. But see what I mean? Like they're doing like past and present, and it's not. Yeah, it's like really heavy. I guess because there's a lot in the past you gotta like get out there, especially with Angelique being around.
yeah, I feel like we'll probably get like another episode or two more heavily in the past before it starts to either even out or we get more present and them trying to get her back, like Victoria
It's
back.
it's kind of both. It is kind of like past and present. Um, making sure we covered everything. Yeah.
I'm just throwing this out there as a guess. I'm assuming Angelique has something to do with why Barnabas turned into a vampire. Like she puts a curse
Mm,
on him.
mm.
I mean, that just seems like the logical way to go.
Mm. I don't want to give any spoiler alerts, but I mean you might be on the right
I mean,
track.
there is a whole edit of like this storyline, I believe, called the Vampire Curse. So I'm assuming it's Angelique.
Oh, is there? That's the one that's on the Dark Shadows one you told me about?
Yeah, it's on Tubi. It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It's literally just
I
like
won't
storyline
I
edited
won't
together.
I don't want to watch that because I want to watch the whole series. So,
Yeah.
because I'm crazy. And it's out there. Like if the whole series wasn't out there, I definitely would watch it. But everything's out there, to be seen. You know what's really cool about watching the old series that you might remember that they have like when they show the credits at the end, like it says like whatever's coming up on ABC back in like 1966. It's like, oh, this is on the news, and, and I was like, that's kind of fun. Like, I guess that's the only recordings they have because they didn't think they were going to ever re-show the show again.
I do remember watching episodes, and I feel like sometimes you could see like a boom mic and like, or at the
Oh
end,
yeah.
at the
Well,
end,
right.
they would show like, I don't know, you could kind of see like behind the scenes a little bit.
They're known for that. They're known for because back then they like shot shows pretty much live. So I think sometimes there's like flies around and there's like you'll see like somebody trying to get in a door and the whole set moves like shit like that. Um, but where I'm at now it's black and white, so it's hard to see like like any mistakes in black and white.
Right.
Like the only thing that happens a lot is they flub their lines. So it'll be like, oh, I thought Roger, like that type of
Really?
stuff. Yeah, like they do that, but not a ton yet. But I heard it gets bad. Like, they do it later because I guess the way they shot back then, it was like pretty much live.
Hmm.
I think a lot of soaps were shot live back then, like Guiding Light and stuff.
That's cool.
I guess before they thought to do it, like, oh, let's film, week in advance. They probably didn't think of it. And
Little
then
did
I
they
think it,
know that some of them would be going 6 to 8 months in advance.
which is only days.
Right.
Bold and YNR, but it worked for them because during COVID they
Yeah.
had no episodes. They didn't have to, so I feel like it worked. But
Apparently, Poor Charles,
uh,
Poor Charles had a similar kind of schedule, but that's why they were canceled and didn't really get to wrap it up because they were done filming at the time.
oh really? I thought they got to wrap it up with the story arcs that they did.
The arc got finished, but like the show itself didn't really get like a proper ending.
That's a shame. Yeah, I guess they could have had like a 2-hour finale.
Plus, I remember watching Mommy Dearest, and Joan Crawford apparently like stood in as a recast for her daughter's character on a soap opera that day. It was like, and that was live because her daughter was like sick in the hospital. I remember her watching it, and her mom was like playing her, even though she's like 20 years older than her.
Joan Crawford was in The Secret Storm, but only for like a week.
Maybe her daughter was in that, and she was playing her for the week.
Maybe.
I think that's what happened.
Huh. I wish that was around. I couldn't. I looked everywhere for it because I collect Joan Crawford stuff.
Have you seen Mommy Dearest?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I don't know what to believe though, because I'm like, that's only like one person's side, and like there was like never proof, like because like I don't know, and it was like done after her mom died.
Oh, it was?
Like, yeah, like at least Betty Davis's daughter put her book out when she was still alive, which caused a lot of turmoil with them. But yeah, like the book released in like 1979, she died in 78, and then they did the movie in 81.
Did you watch the show Feud, Betty and Joan?
Oh my God, yes. I loved it.
Did that kind of like veer towards the same story, I guess? That Dearest?
It made them both look like assholes. But they were both pretty good to their children from what I've seen. Like I don't remember them Joan Crawford being nasty to her daughter in that. I'll have to rewatch it though. I really don't remember. Memories shot.
All right. Do you have anything else to add about these 2 episodes?
No, just that it's getting better and better, and we're gonna lose it. 5 more episodes to go.
It'll be bittersweet. Hopefully, there's some kind of closure.
And if not, there might be some in the original that I'll get in a few years.
All right. Well, once again, happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for joining us for a live version of Gone Too Soon, Dark Shadows. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.
Farewell.